Are your target clients organizations with more than 100 people? Maybe they're upwards of 500 or 1,000 people in multiple locations. This video is about how to apply an innovative cold email outbound strategy to generate a response rate by more than 50%. Now make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button down below if you're interested in B2B sales. I'll be releasing videos weekly on this topic. Cold email outreach is one of those tasks that are really critical in the sales team to generate leads to start filling the pipeline. But the response rate of outbound email cadences can range anywhere from 1% to 20% for a good strategy. And that gets more and more difficult as you target larger and larger and larger businesses. It's really kind of like throwing a dart and hope that you hit a bullseye and find the right person in a large business that will be interested in what you're offering. In my role as head of growth for a growing tech company, I think about lead generation in terms of contacting an organization. When dealing with enterprise, it makes sense to think there's going to be more than one person in a buying decision. So we're targeting the organization and not the people. And that's how I get an increased response rate, by targeting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people within a business, depending on how large it is, and asking them who would be the best person for me to contact. Now this approach, if not considered right, can be fraught with danger. What if you're contacting 2 people at the same time and they're sitting right next to each other and they get wind of it? So we have to be prepared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through an approach of how I actually do this, and you can apply in your business today. To effectively run this strategy, we need 2 pieces of software. We need our contact detail software like a ZoomInfo or a Lusha, and we'll cover that in a second. And we also need a sales engagement platform. And I use a platform like Clenty, but to some degree it exists in HubSpot and other platforms as well. But I'll talk to you exactly why I prefer Clenty during this meeting as well. Today, I'm also going to assume that you know how to research your target markets and you have your buying personas mapped out who would be more than likely be interested in your offering as well. If not, you haven't got that done, leave a comment below and I can make another video about how I've done that as well. And I do all of that work before I do this process to help me narrow my focus and increase my response rate. So now we're going to switch over to a screen recording, and I'm going to walk you through the process step by step. So let's begin. To execute this B2B cold email outreach strategy effectively, what you'll need is a platform like ZoomInfo or Lusha to easily collect contact details of your target personas inside your business. Now, in this example that I'm going to show you today, what I've done in this particular cadence that I've used, now an outbound sales cadence gives me time back in my week. It allows me to set, in this particular instance, 3 emails set over 11 days, taking out the weekends, to drive to a conversation to get a response rate and schedule next steps if it's appropriate within the business. So we use ZoomInfo in our business because our monthly recurring revenue or total contract value is significant and it warrants the cost. If you're on more of a budget, I recommend looking at something like Lusha, but there are plenty of other platforms around that allow you to do this. So in this strategy, what I think about is who are all the people within inside a large organization that may have some kind of familiarity with the problems we solve. And in this case, at my past, we help with contractor and worker qualification compliance. So what I do is build a list around health and safety, operational teams and executives, but also the middle management within a business to cover a broad range of people within a business to drive to a conversation. And then what I do is I write my outbound emails, taking into consideration what are some of the negative consequences if people are sitting next to each other and they get the same email. I want to be honest and upfront, and all I'm driving to is getting to a conversation. So in this particular email cadence, I've sent this out to 5 organizations with 43 people spread across those 5 organizations. So roughly about 8 per business. Now I'm talking about large organizations like Rio Tinto and power providers here in Australia. It's very difficult to find the right people in those businesses who would be responsible for buying or solving the problems that we solve. Okay, so this is the first email that I send out when I'm engaging with multiple people within a business. I want to be upfront and let them know what I'm doing, because the last thing I want to do is have 2 people sitting next to each other and potentially get the same email at the same time and break rapport and not get to a conversation. So I start with saying, hey, your company X is a large organization and I don't know really where to start. Then I go into what we do at MyPass, how we're innovative, and build credibility by speaking to some of the large organizations that are our clients, and then some of the benefits that we solve within those businesses as well. I also want to finish this for transparency to let them know that I'm also reaching out to a number of other people, just in case they do speak to someone and they say, hey, I got an email from Gavin, and went, oh yeah, I did too. Or I've led that message to tell them that I've been doing that already. So I'm trying to maintain rapport and be honest and open about my approach and trying to get to a conversation. And the other 2 emails spread out over the next 2 weeks are really to drive back to the first email and set up a call or get a response from the people that I'm engaging with. So let's look at the success rate of this cadence. In this particular cadence, as I mentioned, 43 people have been put in this, spread over 5 companies. So of the 5 companies, which I can't go into for their email details and privacy and things like that, I got a response rate from 4. So I had an 80% response rate from the companies in this cadence. So don't forget, I'm actually not targeting the person, I'm targeting the organization, because I don't quite know who in the business is responsible for buying MyPass in this instance. Now, some of these companies are like Rio Tinto, 50,000 employees spread around the world. And we've began a long process of engaging with them in the hopes to eventually sell them MyPass, but it could take a period of time. But if I had have just reached out to one person, the chances of finding that right person within 1 in 50,000 or even in upper management of 1,000 is really, really low. And this approach steers me or gives me a better chance of finding the right person within the business. Now, also because I'm sending it to a lot less organizations, I can tailor my messages specifically to that business if I wanted to generate more interest and get a higher response rate. And you can do that as you evolve over time. Using a platform like Plenty allows you to monitor your numbers and your response rate and improve easily over time to get upwards of from 50 to 60 to 80% reply rates of your outbound email cold reach as well. So what I showed you today applies to businesses when they are over maybe 100 employees. It could even be as low as 50. It depends on who would be interested in what you're selling. Having that approach really maximizes your chances of starting a conversation within a business. It's really impossible to know who within a business would be responsible for buying your software. No 2 organizations are the same, and position titles are often different as well. But by reaching out to a number of key people within that business, hopefully they will funnel you to the right person for a conversation. And that's how you increase your reply rate, by thinking about it at an organizational level, not as a person-to-person level. By using a platform like Plenty or other sales outreach platforms that help you monitor your response rates and your percentages and your numbers, it will help you to formulate this strategy and then improve it over time. The chances are, as soon as you start, you're not going to get it right. But we need to have a consistent, measured approach to get improved results over time. Now, if you like this video and you've been using this approach already, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear how your response rate or your success has been. Now, you could also find other videos here about B2B sales. So I look forward to speaking to you next time. Have a great day.